Hi, we're back. I say we because this is much more than me and much more than you as well. I appreciate your comments about some former meditations that we shared together, and perhaps we can do that a little bit more this evening, or well, actually it's this evening for me, but it could be another time of day for you. So that really doesn't matter a whole lot. What matters is that we are, as Ram Dass likes to say, we're walking one another home. Whatever that appears to be, whatever that looks like. A friend of mine likes to say, God says it's all going to be okay. We just don't get the opportunity to decide what okay looks like. But here we are. Somehow or another, in a miraculous way, we are here together in a similar space, similar time, similar energy, to share a bit more about who and what we truly are. So we take a few moments right now to breathe deeply, kind of stretch your insides, close your eyes if you'd like. Gently soften your belly. Breathe into your abdominal area and notice if there's any tightness there you're holding on to. Don't force it, just let it begin to relax. Begin to unwind. I am opening myself up to Divine Spirit. I am opening myself up to the truth of all that we are. And so as we allow our body to soften, to begin to release whatever it might be holding on to, whatever we might be holding on to in a physical sense in our own mind, we just breathe, allow it to release. Recognizing, as we have said before, that you have a body, but you are not your body. You are more than that. I have a body, but I am not my body. I am more than that. And this is so tremendously important, especially in times of physical distress or illness or discomfort or anything that's out of balance within ourselves or our response to the physical world. That I do not deny that. There are obviously some things that we might need to work with. But at the same time, we do not overly identify with it or make it or give it control over our lives. I have a body, but I am not my body. I am more than that. And then we do a similar kind of thing with our emotional sense. I know for me it has been many, many years that I've been trapped in, or was trapped in, this whole notion that somehow or another my emotions defined my spiritual awareness or my spiritual state. I realize today that is just not true. I have emotions and they certainly rock around quite a bit. But they do not define my spirituality. If I am feeling bad, that doesn't mean that I'm bad, or doesn't mean that God is separate from me or that I'm separate from God. It might feel that way. But that is not the truth. It's not who I am, not who you are either. And so we take a moment to just step back a bit from your feelings, from your emotions. Some of them you will be able to name, some you can notice are familiar. Some you might not even be able to put a name or a label on. That's okay too. For the moment, however, we take a step beyond our feelings, our emotions, and recognize that we have feelings, we have emotions, but they are not who we are. And so for a moment or so, we just let go of them. Just let them be. Be whatever it is they are. They will be there when we come back to our consciousness of the material world. I have feelings, I have emotions, but they are not who I am. And then we do a similar exercise with our mind, with our thoughts. We take a step back from them. We notice that the mind is constantly producing thoughts, one after another, sometimes more than one at a time, or at least that's the way it seems. You will notice, however, that some thoughts, as important as they might be, give way to other ones, and others, and others, and others. There's always one that's waving its hand, saying, look at me, I'm important. Of course, some thoughts we see as being rather inconsequential, or maybe even insane. We don't pay them a whole lot of attention. But then there are others that just hook us right in. Say, look at me, I'm real. I want to control you. And so we breathe again with those thoughts, those ideas, those attachments that are begging for our attention. And realize that I have them, but they are not who I am. I have a mind and I have thoughts, but it is not who I am. I have a body. I have connections to the physical world, but they do not define me. I have feelings and I have emotions, but they are not who I am. I have an intellect and I have thoughts, and as important as they might be, they are not the truth of who I am either. And so I just allow this sense of self, this being more than my thoughts, more than my body, more than my feelings, just sort of float free for a moment. As I get a sense of what it's like to be without all of this armor on, without all of these attachments, without all of these definitions. And in this sacred space that we are all a part of, and that includes all beings, I'd like you to imagine or sense or feel that in the center of your chest, there is a pinpoint of white golden light. It might even be pulsating a bit with the beating of your heart, but it does not have to be. And with each breath that you take, this tiny pinpoint of light begins to expand. You can sense its brightness. You also might even be able to sense its warmth until it's about the size of a dime or a quarter. You're not forcing anything to happen, you're just allowing this to expand and unfold and evolve. And it begins to reach a certain size where you can sense that light and maybe even sense that warmth, where you can see a tiny figure in that circle of light, in that sphere of light. And this little figure is standing with its arms outstretched in a gesture of healing and welcomeness. And you simply allow that to grow with each breath you take. Until that figure within that sphere of light is large enough to even begin to imagine that its arms can begin to touch you. And so they do. These arms of light reach out and touch your shoulders. And simply notice how you resonate with that. And then these golden light-filled arms reach out a little bit more to begin to embrace you, to gently draw you in to this sphere of light. And you simply allow yourself to be embraced by this marvelous golden being of light. So that you are distinct from one another and yet you are blending together. And this being whispers into your consciousness, I know who you are. You are a divine child of God. Do you know who I am? And what is revealed to you when that question is asked is that this marvelous being of light that is holding you in its embrace is also a reflection of your divine self. Welcoming you to the kingdom of heaven. I know who you are, and you know who I am. We are beyond definition. And yes, we are one. And in the quiet, in the silence, allow yourself to rest in that oneness. I know who you are. I know who I am. We are one. And as you rest in that place, there might be other beings that you are aware of, that you invite into this light-filled embrace. Family, friends, people you love, people who love you. Invite them in to share in the kingdom. Now here is a gift and perhaps a challenge. There might be some people you don't like very much who come into your mind. What would it be like to invite them into this light-filled embrace? Do not struggle with this one. If you can allow it to happen easily, let it happen. If not, you can learn from that as well. This is not judgment. This is awareness. What one of my teachers likes to call our growing edge. Now, as we begin to return, to first focus on your breathing again. Be aware again that you have a body, but you are not your body. You have feelings and emotions, but you are not your feelings. You are not your emotions. You are more than that. You have thoughts and you have a mind, and you are more than that as well. That you are and will always be this being of golden light, both embracing and being embraced. Always. There are tasks for each one of us, learning experiences, experiences of stretching, of growing, of loving, that are awaiting our consciousness here in the material world. But as we do each one of those, we hold in our hearts the desire that we remain connected with the truth of who we all are. I am reminded of that wonderful expression by the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, when he suggested, when you are doing the dishes, and you can apply this to anything really. When you're doing the dishes, imagine that each dish is a little baby Buddha. Now what I am doing might be the same. I'm doing the dishes. But notice how I can bring to that act a sense of sacred love that goes far beyond dishes. Imagine that each person you see is a little baby Buddha. How might we respond differently? So becoming conscious again of our breathing, breathing in, breathing out. Belly being softened. Coming back to our conscious awareness of being here, wherever here is in this physical space, in this physical time. And before you open your eyes, notice that without even consciously realizing it, that each one of us has transcended time and space, gone beyond the measurements of the material world, into a deeper reality that we all share in. And so as you stretch a bit and open your eyes when you're ready, you can allow your heart, and I can allow my heart as well, to be open in gratitude. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be free of suffering. And may all beings remember who they are. Thank you all. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Thank you, thank you, thank you.